Ni hao, welcome to New Zealand Chinese Language Week. 我叫 Marka, 我住在 Shanghai 和惠灵顿. I started studying Chinese with my wife back in 2010. We were both very curious about China. It was this increasingly important place and not far from New Zealand, so we thought we'd go and have a look. We got married, travelled for about 6 months around Asia and the UK, and then ended up in Beijing where we studied. And I had never done any formal language training. I had a fairly monolingual life. I spoke a little bit of conversational Arabic and then a splattering of words from travelling for a few years around the world. But it was the first time I'd really studied a language. And for me, that was a little bit tough. I was in my mid-30s, so this old brain took a while to start ticking over. But it was really good. It was like when you go to gym and you've got some muscles that you never knew you had. For me, language was like that. And I use these muscles or these parts of my brain that I never, ever knew I had. And I think it really helped everything else tick over. I found my brain was on fire. It was writing. And so I really loved that element of it. And also, it was just a window into Chinese, both the language, but also the culture. So it helped me understand an area of the world that I was quite ignorant about before I studied the language. And as a result, it's opened up an awful lot of opportunities. My wife and I, we both lived in Beijing and Shanghai, and then travelled a lot around China. So it helped us navigate that. But it also enabled me to start my business, China Skinny, which is a marketing, branding and strategy agency based in Shanghai. And through that, I've met people from all over China and all over the world, all sorts of interesting and adventurous people. We've worked with brands such as Adidas, Nike, Panasonic, IKEA, Tourism Australia, Procter & Gamble, Reckitt Benckiser, Colgate, Fonterra, Zespri, Woolies, Coles, all sorts of interesting and quite large and also a lot of really cool small businesses. And I've also been invited to speak about China all around the world, everywhere from London to Los Angeles, Beijing to Barcelona, and Paris, Copenhagen to Christchurch, Sydney to Shanghai, Helsinki to Hong Kong, and Dubai, and many other different places around the world. So that for me has really enriched my life and widened my perspectives. And I think similarly for anyone considering learning Chinese, you're never too old, as hopefully I've proven, but it's also a really good way to really understand the world through a different lens and see things. And I think it makes your perspectives a lot more objective. And particularly with all sorts of crazy geopolitics going on in the world, helps give you a view that is more your own rather than some of the stuff that you may read. And there is a word, it's my favorite word in Chinese, and I think my wife as well, and it's a word we use a lot. We kind of wish we had it as part of the Kiwi vernacular, and that is ma fan. And it kind of means trouble, inconvenience. And as anyone knows, traveling in a different culture or anywhere, there can be a lot of ma fan experiences. And it's a word you apologise, say ma fan ni to someone if you're causing them some inconvenience or troubles, or if you've just been a bit of a pain in the ass. But it's a great word. I wish we had it because my wife and I, even in New Zealand, we use it all the time, and a highly, highly great word. But get out there, learn a language, even if it's not Chinese. But Chinese is just a really lovely, logical, and quite a musical language. It's a beautiful language, the written language. I'm not going to pretend to speak perfect Chinese, but even just speaking a little bit is a really fun and rewarding and enlightening experience that will enrich your world. Go for it.